What's up, YouTube? Got a yo-yo review to do today. This is the Yoyo Community Spectrum SE. So the Spectrum SE is sort of a collaboration, I guess. Not really. It was a yo-yo put out by Yoyo Community way back in like 2014. Now, unfortunately, Yoyo Community has been gone since about 2016. But this was sort of one of their masterpieces, especially just as far as design and playability and anodization goes. And Yoyo Community did a lot of cool stuff in sort of that 2012 to 2016 time frame. And this is one of them. This is the Spectrum SE. So the Spectrum SE is the follow-up to the Yoyo Community Spectrum, which was the non-side effect version. So the Spectrum SE is the side effect version of the Yoyo Community Spectrum. So before we get into this yo-yo, let's talk about the specs. So the specs of this yo-yo is diameter is 56.5 millimeters. The width is 41 millimeters, which is sort of narrow compared to today's standards, but back in 2014 it was pretty standard. Gap width is 4.16 millimeters, and it weighs in at 66 grams, and that's if it came with the Sakura side effects. This one has the spikes. I think some of them came just with different side effects. They were the SE version. This ano is beautiful. Allegedly, this ano came from a guy who really only does paintball guns, and he wanted to remain anonymous, and his name's not all over it. But this ano is just, I mean, look how good this is. Look how clean and crisp those lines are, like that splash, and man, this is good. This is on loan to me. The string is pink to sort of match the splash here. Very cool. It's the string that it was handed to me on, and I was like, well, that looks good. I'm just gonna leave that on there. It plays fine with it on too. 66 grams, like I said, one drop, flow groove, response pads, and comes with standard with a Boss wrap bearing. So we're not really going to do pros and cons. We're not really going to do kind of the final third part of the video because you can't buy this anymore because Yoyo Community doesn't exist anymore, and these have been sold out for years. But I kind of wanted to take a look at it and just sort of go over what yo-yoing used to be and what like high-end artsy yo-yos kind of were like. So first, like I said, let's take a look at the ano. Now this was machined at one drop and then anodized in America by a guy who generally does paintball guns. As you can see here, the inside is blasted. It's sort of blasted for grinds and stuff, and the outside is rather shiny. So this was kind of prior to finger spins being a thing, but with spike side effects and what have you, Matador style was kind of a big thing then, as far as horizontaling is concerned. This is a very standard H shape, but you can see that like the H sort of has an undercut, which is pretty, like they don't do this much, and like this doesn't really happen anymore. Nobody does undercuts like this. So this is sort of a very like cool thing that really only a shop like One Drop I think could pull off. I mean, I'm sure, you know, other shops could do it. You just punch the numbers in now. But as far as all this is concerned, like, I wouldn't trust many, you know, people other than One Drop to do this, particularly Sean. And then look at this ano. Like, even though that goes under, like, that still lines up. Like, how cool is that? This is really an art piece as well as a yo-yo. Now, as far as the play is concerned, it kind of plays the way you would think. Plays very much like the Yoyo Community Tangent. In my estimation, it's very similar to that. It's got a little more center weight because of these side effects being in it, but if you put, you know, sort of the flat caps or like lighter center side effects in it, it would play lighter. So, you know, it would play pretty much exactly, in my opinion, like the Yoyo Community Tangent plays, which is one of my, it's a great yo-yo. It's still one of my everyday carry yo-yos. I picked one up just as Yoyo Community was going away. They were blowing out all of what was left in stock, and I have that green Tangent still. I must have had it for 2 years at this point. And this sort of plays like that, but it's a little more elegant looking, and it's just kind of just a really nice collector's piece. I mean, it's just a really nice looking yo-yo, and it plays very well, like a H yo-yo would play that was designed back in 2014. It plays very much in that vein. it's a very nice playing yo-yo. But it's probably enough of me just sort of randomly rambling on about it. Let's go throw it around a little bit. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about, and we'll kind of go from there. Alright guys, we are back with the Yoyo Community Spectrum SE. So you're going to find when you throw this, much like throwing most H-shaped yo-yos, is that you have a lot of power and it plays kind of heavy. Because 66 grams for a yo-yo of this size, while not super heavy, it's not like a brick, but it's not heavy. It's not a not heavy playing yo-yo, which is, I mean, kind of a sign of the times. This is sort of how heavy yo-yos felt back then. I don't think the machining and the computer software behind the machining was as precise as to get them as thin as they get today. That being said, it's still pretty easy to hit tricks. Like, this plays just as well as any modern yo-yo. If anything, it's a little bit less wide than most modern yo-yos would be. The blast finish sort of on the finger grind portion of the yo-yo in here is very nice. I mean, you get a nice grind out of it. Really no complaints there. Really get nice finger grinds out of it. It barely slows down at all. You're not really going to be able to finger spin it because it's sort of shiny. See? Kind of shiny in there. And plus, they got that spike side effect. But, let's see if I can... Nah, see, it's like snagging and grabbing on my skin. And because there's no center to, like, center it on a nail. Finger spin's not really a thing, but they weren't really a thing back in 2014. I mean, really, this is sort of just set up for, like, kind of speedy, maybe a little bit of tech play. Like, it's very stable because it's an H-shape. It's got a lot of rim weight. And, it's not very big, so it really doesn't get in your way as far as, like, techie stuff is concerned, and, like, chopsticks and things like that. The, flow groove side effects are nice. Or the flow groove response pads are always nice. Can't complain about those. They are really, really, really good. I mean, overall, I mean, this is just, it's a good yo-yo to play. The Yoyo Community, I feel like, did a lot of really good things, and then they went away, and nobody talks about them anymore. But I always enjoyed their designs. I enjoyed looking at their designs. I still enjoy my Tangent very much. I actually think Elijah might be on the One Drop team. And he's a cool dude. I didn't get to meet him, although I think he was at Nationals, but I didn't get to meet him. But the Spectrum SE really is a nice piece, and they really went out of their way to get some really nice anodizing on this, and just really get some. It's just really a good playing yo-yo. So huge shout out to Ryan for letting me try this bad boy and letting me review it. I always like to check out older yo-yos, especially if it's something that comes from, like, you know, like One Drop machined it, or it's something that's like, well, this company's not here anymore, like Yoyo Community, but I still like them. Like, I'm a big Yoyo Community fan, even though I kind of missed the boat. I think they did some really cool yo-yos. And you can add the Spectrum SE to one of those really cool yo-yos that they did. So, I'm a fan. And I hope everybody from Yoyo Community is doing very well here in 2018. But if you ever get the chance to pick up a Spectrum SE, and especially if it comes in a colorway that looks as good as this, holy cow, I would suggest doing it, because this is a great yo-yo, and it's a nice collector's piece, and they look really good. So kudos to Yoyo Community. You were gone too soon, but you made nice stuff. So shout out to you guys if you watch this video. I hope you do. But that is going to do it for me today, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe. I do videos like all the time. Literally all the time. I'm just doing yo-yo videos. And sometimes other stuff on Fridays. I think this Friday, this Friday's going to be something different. But it's good stuff. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Please make sure you like and subscribe. Cheers to you. I'll see you next time.